And God said to Abraham, "Take your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I shall tell you." Genesis 22:1.
A revered patriarch to Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike, Abraham was perhaps the first human being to believe in the concept of one God. Yet how could Abraham consent to sacrifice his own son?
It's impossible for modern man to explain that story. It's impossible to deal with this.
The dramatic story of Abraham is shrouded in mysteries that spark controversy to this day. Abraham directly challenges God and pleads with him to save the sinful cities of Sodom and Gomorrah from fiery destruction. But why?
That Abraham, a total outsider, should plead with God for the lives of these people is absolutely amazing.
Who was this man who inspired one of the greatest spiritual revolutions of all time? Did Abraham really exist as a man of flesh and blood, or is he a legendary figure created centuries later? These are but a few of the mysteries of the Bible. There could have been no more unlikely place for it to begin. Ur, a powerful, sophisticated pagan city, a kingdom which prospered roughly 2,000 years before the birth of Christ. According to tradition, it was here in Ur, in modern-day Iraq, near the banks of the Euphrates River, that a man called Abraham, the first patriarch of the Hebrew Bible, would spend his early years. Abraham, a visionary whose revolutionary spiritual quest to discover an invisible moral God would change Western civilization forever. In Abraham's time, Ur was surrounded by massive city walls. It boasted impressive temples, towers, and palaces, created by the sophisticated, resourceful people of Mesopotamia. Some scholars believe that the impressive ziggurat of Ur, recently restored, was the basis for the biblical Tower of Babel. To placate their fears of the unknown, the people of Ur, including Abraham's family, worshipped idols, gods of fertility, of love and war, fashioned from clay and stone. These fearsome deities were indifferent to human morality or conduct, so long as they were appeased with prayer and sacrifice.
The great mystery of Abraham's life, and in some ways one of the greatest mysteries of the Bible, is how did this man, in a world where people worshipped natural forces and the sun and the moon and idols, how did Abraham suddenly have a vision of a world created by and touched with the Spirit of God?
Traditional rabbinic stories called the Midrash tells us that Abraham's father was an idol maker, and that one day Abraham destroyed them. When his father asked who destroyed them, Abraham said the idols fought and destroyed each other. Abraham's father refused to believe him. He told his son that idols are just objects of clay with no powers of their own. Young Abraham's answer would reveal his revolutionary spiritual vision.
If the idols have no powers of their own, then why do you worship them?
That Abraham should destroy idols is symbolic of the fact that he alone, for reasons we can't possibly imagine, for reasons we'll never know, he alone said, this is not the way to go. He's listening to the different voice, to a voice of God who is beyond nature.
Ironically, some scholars believe that Abraham's monotheism, the belief in one God, was not an innovation, but a return to the original faith of the Bible.
The biblical view is that Abraham is not an innovator, because the biblical notion is that monotheism was the original religion of the human race, and that idolatry was a degeneration.
As the immortal biblical narrative begins, we meet Abram and Sarai among the idol worshippers of Ur. God will eventually change their names to the more widely known names of Abraham and Sarah, which we will use in our telling of the story. In Ur, the Bible records only that Abraham marries Sarah, who was unable to bear him children. Then, according to tradition, Abraham and Sarah set out with Terah, Abraham's father, and Lot, Abraham's nephew, starting a 1,000-mile journey across the desert, traveling toward the city of Haran in modern Turkey. Abraham was leaving Ur forever.
Abraham leaves Mesopotamia because his father and the family decided to migrate. It wasn't a decision of Abraham, and he received no revelation to leave. There is much speculation about it. Some people, some scholars think that it was part of a general migration of peoples from Mesopotamia westward.
At about the same time as Abraham sets out from Ur, across the world it is time for new beginnings. In the Great Lakes region of North America, spears are first designed out of copper. On the eastern coast of Japan, fish hooks made from animal bones are commonly used by fishermen. And in Hungary, skilled bronze workers create weapons, such as engraved axes and swords. But perhaps nowhere on earth was a more important drama being acted out for humanity than the trek of an obscure group of migrants braving 1,000 miles of sun-scorched desert.
And they went forth together from Ur of the Chaldeans to go into the land of Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they settled there. Genesis 11:3.
According to the Bible, Abraham would live in the village of Haran until he was an old man of 75. The advanced ages of Abraham and others mentioned in the Bible have long puzzled scholars.